Okay, what do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about the power that you have in your business as a solo business owner or a very small micro agency. The power to structure your engagements and structure the way that you do your work with clients is so much more in your hands than you realize. Most of our clients come to us and they're like, hey, can I tell a client that I don't want to join their, I don't know, I don't want to create an email at their business to communicate with them. Like, am I allowed to say no? Like, where are the boundaries? We have a lot of these conversations. And I don't think people have a North Star or even like any directional compass on what to do in this situation of just control and ownership of time, processes, structure within a business. So I want to kind of open that conversation up and go back and forth about it. Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries are super key.
But first, we want to thank our friends over at Share Your Genius. Thank you, Share Your Genius, for supporting and sponsoring the show and putting up with our amazing transitions. If you, dear listener, have a podcast that you edit yourself and you're like, who could I trust to edit my podcast? Look no further than our friends over at Share Your Genius. And if you have been thinking, I need to make a show, I want to make a show as amazing as House of Scale, but who could I trust to help me produce this and bring this show to life? Look no further than our favorite genius team over at Share Your Genius. You pick up the phone or pick up the LinkedIn and type into the LinkedIn search Rachel L. Stowney, and you DM her right now and you say, Nick and Erica sent me. It will be the greatest decision you make all year, I guarantee it. Okay. For the greatest plug of all time. Boundaries. 100%. I think the main thing that we hear, or we've been hearing a lot recently, and I think that's why it's so top of mind, is like clients will always push you past your boundary, not because they're evil, not because they're bad, or because they're immoral, or because they're trying to wring you out like a towel, because they are just trying to do what they think is right. And it is up to us as a business owner and a consultant or a coach, or whatever role you play in all of this madness, to set a boundary, put up a guardrail wherever you see fit, and then maintain it. So there's an example that like we have a client that was like, oh yeah, I have 5 emails with my clients. When they hire me, they give me an email address. Mm-hmm. And I have 5 inboxes plus my own. And hey, I'm not saying that's wrong. Would I do it? No.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong though. There are plenty of ways to make things like that work. There's absolutely nothing.
From a client's perspective, why do they want that? Just easier organization for them? I
mean, if a company's large and they have data, like they have security issues, and in order to get you access to certain systems, you might need an email with their name on it. Like there's a variety of reasons, security being one of them, that would be a thing. They communicate in certain ways, and they do a distribution list, and only people with a certain email. Like if you have their email, you get on the distribution list, things like that. Mm-hmm. So it could simplify certain things depending on the size of the company. I'm not saying it's like inherently a bad thing, but what I am saying is like you also get to decide where the boundary is.
Okay. Let's be like super tactical about this. Does this usually happens in the proposal phase or in the onboarding phase? And how do you get ahead of it?
Here's an easy example, right? Most people will ask you, like, what does an engagement look like? And you would tell them what the engagement looks like. We meet at this frequency for this amount of time. We communicate through these means. We track our progress through the program, through the work, whatever, in this tool. And some people might go, oh, we don't use Slack at our company. Can we do email? Can we put you in our own email? Mm-hmm. You'd be like, we can do, like, you just don't have to say yes. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to get an inbox and get flooded with communications from another company if it doesn't serve you, right? Like, they might just be asking to ask, and sometimes we just concede things because, like, why? You're just like, well, I'm not going to lose this deal over that. It's like, maybe they don't even care.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I have found that the things that we don't like about the way we do business almost are always non-issues for our clients. Like if you're like, oh, like I don't want to be in their email and I hate having it. And if you were to come forward and say, hey, after this month, like I can no longer use your email unless there's like a security reason where they're like, hey, like IT just won't let us work with people who don't use these emails, like whatever. Mm-hmm. Like if it's that kind of company, but like if it's just a matter of convenience or something and there's no like actual reason, like you can just say, hey, this doesn't work.
100%. I feel like so many of these problems come up from just trying to be easygoing. I wouldn't even call it people pleasing at this stage. It's just, sure, whatever.
Yeah, you just like, say yes to stuff because like take the drag off of like whatever it takes. Like and it's, yeah, just sure.
Yeah. But what happens then is as you start to scale and you get more and more clients that want this, your life can descend into literal chaos. I mean, having to check 5 inboxes a day, including your own, that is so difficult. You're context switching all day between all these things. It's miserable.
It's a different level of chaos than having all of your clients in Slack. Like, it's not inherently better. Like, I think the only difference is that we put all our clients in Slack, and the expectation is like, 1, we'll get back to you within a reasonable amount of time, but 2, it's like, it's at least our controlled chaos. Like we can help organize it all. Everything's in one place. It's easy for us to manage and maintain. Like it just works for our workflow. Mm-hmm. And the trouble people run into is that you have one client in Slack, you have one client in Teams, you have one client in email, one client in your own email, one client in their email, and now
there's always the client that's like, I'm just going to WhatsApp you.
Yeah, and then there's definitely a client in WhatsApp. There's a client that is like only talks to you in Google Docs comments for some reason. Like whatever the thing is. It's like Basecamp campfires.
Oh my God. I did Basecamp once for someone.
We did Basecamp at Impact and it was fine, but it was just like, yeah, it's like, but then you have one client that emails you, one client that responds to things in comments, one client that chat pings you, one client that sends you campfires or whatever. And you're like, what the literal fucking is going on around here?
It makes your day feel crazy.
So much more hectic.
And like you can't ever catch up or be organized on messages.
You just get to decide, right? Like you get to decide where the boundary in your own business is. And sometimes that means like I'm not saying be so rigid in that you're going to lose deals because IT can't verify you, but it's like, hey, this is how we work.
Yeah.
You can have a way that you work. And most people don't really care what way that way is.
Yeah. I think the bigger thing underneath this is the reason why I wanted to talk about this so badly today as well. When you get hired and then you take control and you say, this is how we do things, that comes across as so much more confident than whatever you want. Sure. Or conceding to everything that a client asks, or not being able to deliver information that you might think, oh, they might think I'm then being lazy, or they might think I'm being someone who's not amenable because you're worried about what they're going to think. It is so much more powerful and impactful to come across as, no, this is my business. I run it this way. And if this is a problem, like we can have a conversation about it, but coming at it from a place of confidence in why you're doing things, as opposed to what comes across as just whatever, which could come from like literally just being a very like chill person, or more often than not, it comes from totally unorganized and unstructured systems, right? Like, so totally. I want to talk about a couple other ways that this can present itself, because this is just one example. Another way that this presents itself is what in the negotiation phase. So in the biz dev phase, you've got someone who's interested in what you're doing, and they ask you a very specific question about what you're doing and why you do it. And instead of having an answer where you say, well, in phase 1 or in phase 4, we do this for this reason, it's just totally unstructured. And it's like, hey, I'm thinking of a client who's going back and forth with someone right now. I'm not going to name him, but he's going back and forth right now with someone. And this person is essentially asking, do I need part of what you're offering? And this client is a little bit unsure of how to answer that. And I really liked the advice you gave him. So let's make this very hypothetical and anonymize it. But what do you do there when you feel, again, like you want to win this deal and you want to help them, but they're questioning whether what you are saying is necessary is actually necessary, usually because they want to get the budget reduced.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. So in this specific example of this client, his prospect said, no, I don't want what you have. And that's not because he wasn't interested. And when he asked, we learned why, it was, I'm interested in this one particular thing, like this, a support in this area. I think I have a pretty good handle on a lot of the things that you're going to do. And I have a pretty good plan in place for the things that I haven't done yet. And I want this other thing. And basically, the advice we gave was remember why you're really good at this thing and why you do it, right? The outcome was kind of simple. It was first of all, step into your confidence. Because what this person was suggesting was, and I'm I don't know why I'm trying to pad this so much, but it's basically this person wanted to skip a bunch of steps. And I was hey, just remind this person that what they want is a totally reasonable thing, but their path to getting there, it looks like A to B to C, not A to C.
Yeah.
Right? You just have to remind them of that because that's the way to do it. You've done this 100 times. You get to set the boundary in terms of how this thing goes.
Yeah.
You don't have to let your clients skip steps because this is a big boundary thing. Oh, clients want to do it like this. And that's great for your clients. That's great for that business that wants to do it like this. But what's not great is when they don't get what they need.
Yes, 100%. That happens so much where people think, okay, you tell me in the discovery phase before I've even done an audit, really, you tell me in your own words, which is of course biased, and you're not the expert. So you don't actually know if you need this or not, that you don't need it. And then I concede because I want to win the business. And then we get in there and we realize, actually, we can't do any of these things because what you described you don't need is 100% necessary. And then you get, it's what do you do at that point? You've already signed a contract, right? So these things happen too. What do you do at that point?
I mean, you can do anything you want. You can give them their money back. You can you say, hey, this is what we're going to do. I mean, I would say
it's so interesting too. Cause I don't know what it is with this mindset, but I feel once money exchanges hands, when I say people, I mean consultants or contractors feel they now are burdened
indebted.
With this. Yeah.
You're indebted to these people. It's no,
money has changed hands. I now work for you. You tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it.
It feels fragile. It feels fragile, and it feels well, I think that's because going into the engagement, we're going in with the wrong, misaligned and with the wrong expectations.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stems from being unclear on the path from where we are to where we're trying to go. And it's not because you're not good. I think people get really up in arms about coming off like an asshole because, and that rightfully so, because it's oh, you're such an expert. That's such a weird fucking thing to say or be or feel or act on. But it's also hey, it's just, this is what I do.
Yeah.
You don't show up to them. I mean, the mechanic example is such a common example. It's you don't show up and be here's how you turn a wrench. Yeah. Here's the screw I need you to, here's the screw and here's the place and here's the thing. People don't do that.
Yeah. 100%.
You don't do that because you just let them do their thing. And the problem is that people hire, especially marketers, they hire marketing consultants. And then all of a sudden they become an amazing marketer themselves and can tell the marketing consultant what to do or how to do their job. And it becomes very we don't like it. And so then you feel this defense mechanism creep, right? Your shields go up and you either are trying to justify the work or you go into people pleaser mode. Both are not great. And I think there's really simple ways to combat this. One is like, when we get asked this all the time in the sales process, it's like, well, the work, like, are you just going to give it to me and that's it? Like, are we going to work on it? Like, how does this go? And it's like, well, we set the expectation that's a highly collaborative thing. Like, the odds of us giving you something that's 100% perfect right away, or even getting to something that's 100% perfect, are pretty low.
Yeah.
That's true for anything and anyone, with anyone you work with. And instead of redlining things to death, the expectation is like, hey, you know, that last mile, that last like 2-5%, that 2-5%, that's like, hey, this is so close, but it's like, there's a difference between it being me, like being something you gave me, and it being me is that 2-5%. So the expectation is that like you can take it last mile. And all of a sudden we put up the boundary, and now everything, it's just a smoother process because, one, people don't expect perfection because it doesn't exist. And instead, and before we did that, like it didn't necessarily cross our minds that like we had to prepare for that and align around that idea. And so it would be like round after round after revision and red line after red line after red line. It was like, instead of going through red lines on this thing and us trying to interpret what you're saying, just say it. And that will take everybody significantly less time. And no, well, yeah, but they're paying us. Yeah, but they're paying you. It's like all of this work is so much easier for everybody if we have a common goal, which is like, here's the outcome we're looking for. And it's a highly collaborative process. And it's not like, hey, we're gonna take over 95% of that.
Yeah. Totally.
And all of a sudden the nature of the engagement changes, and the way that people approach the work, especially in the review process, that's usually where things fall apart. Is like you go through these countless rounds of revisions, and every round of revision becomes like further and further from the point, or from like the original concept that was what we felt, if you felt like that was the right one.
Yep.
Whatever. And if there's also a ton of consensus in committee, you end up
it's funny because
it.
I feel like we, especially you, since you're such a good coach, like really
thank you for the paid promotion.
You are push back on clients in the way that we expect them to push back on their clients in these situations. And it's like you're learning through osmosis, and also then we're going to be like, remember what we did last week? That's the answer to your question. I'm thinking of an example of a client who is really excited about something that's not the main thing at the moment. And she hired us to help her figure out the main thing. And we're not done with the main thing yet, but there's been a lot of chat of the other thing, right? And it's not a shiny object thing at all. It's important.
Yeah, it's a newsletter. We could talk about it.
It's a newsletter. I don't know why I'm being so anonymous.
We're being so cryptic today. We're just like, I don't know. Yeah.
It's Monday. I'm cryptic on Monday, and I'm chilling.
Come see us on Friday, and we'll be naming names.
So yeah, like we're trying to finalize her offer, her POV, get her service all codified, buttoned up, and launched. But she's getting throughout the process of going through all this POV work we're doing with her, she's just getting like super creative and excited about a newsletter, potentially 2 newsletters. Like she's just got all these ideas. And, I'm going back and forth with her about it. I'm having fun, I'm jamming, and Nick comes in and he's like, hey, yo, like keep the main thing. The main thing. Yeah, I mean.
She said, okay, Dad.
She said, okay, Dad. Yeah, exactly.
She okay dadded me. And I was like, listen, like, you'll understand when you're older.
It's true, though. And clients, doesn't matter what kind of business you're working, like, we're still working with people. Clients do this all the time. They hire you for something, and then they get excited, or they get, shiny object syndrome about whatever, or you forget the whole reason why you're all there. You can get totally off track. And it's your job to keep the main thing the main thing.
The boundary is mission critical. Like, is it fun? Like, no, but I do know how this play is supposed to go. And do I think it's a distraction in this moment? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think it is something worth pursuing overall? 100%.
Yeah.
It's just like one thing at a time. We cannot do everything well. It's the same reason why when people ask us, this seems really LinkedIn heavy. Like, are you sure this is a viable long-term play? It's like, it's for the same reason. It's like, it is right now. Well, what about all these other things, newsletters and Substacks and all these other places I could possibly, it's like the main thing. Do make this thing work, and then we'll think about the other thing. And it's not because those other things aren't valid or important or useful or helpful, we don't do it because we can only do so many things at once.
100%.
And we can only do so many things at once really well.
Yeah. I definitely get, like, I'm a creative person. I like to jam. I can totally go.
You take the bait sometimes.
I do. I'm like, this is fun.
It is fun. I love talking about it. And I'm not saying don't talk about it. Like, I in no way was like, stop this conversation. Like, I provided what I thought was the right answer. I provided like a thought in terms of like, the big thing was, what do we call it? What do we call the newsletter? That was like the main thing right now. Or the main thing. That was the main question.
That was the side
thing.
Yeah.
Among the side thing. The peripheral thing. And I provided a thought, but I also was like, by the way, just don't forget, like, we cannot lose sight of what we're here to really do. And there's an order to this process for a reason. And I'm open to going non-linearly when it makes sense.
I am getting better at this. I think that you can certainly entertain fun side things, but you don't have to be a robot. Like, you don't have to be like, sorry, this is outside of the realm of the main thing. I shall now, like, power down. Like, you don't have to do that, you know? But
powering down.
Or
it's just like, oh, this is a big one. It's like, oh, well, that's out of scope. So we're going to, like, immediately be like, oh, that's an upcharge, or that's a different scope, or that's a different thing. It's like, there are ways that are tactful and respectful and also encouraging. I think keyword here being also encouraging to people that maintain a healthy boundary, that don't invite or like enable scope creep, and also empower your clients to do things. A simple example of this one is like, a lot of people we work with get requests to have their brain picked. This is where like a boundary comes into play all the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like, can we meet for a little bit, do a coffee chat? And it's like, would love to pick your brain. One, I fucking can't stand it, the pick your brain thing, because it's like, that sounds awful for me. That sounds awful for anyone being picked. For some reason, it became some sort of bizarre social norm to ask that question or ask it in that way. But we're going to just, like, even that aside, it's so lopsided. But like, people are like, oh no, like, they just be like, no. It's like, well, there's a more encouraging way. Hey, would love to chat with you. My rate for that is X. Or like, a big one is after conferences, especially if you're speaking or you're doing like something like that, and they come up to you and they ask you questions. It's like, you don't just shut people down. This is a big one. People are like, oh, like, well, this is like stuff that I sell in consulting. It's like, you can be encouraging and give and help somebody out. Like, the purpose, like, again, like, let's re-anchor in what the whole thing here is too, especially on like the pick your brain and asking questions and like trying to like get time from you. Is like, the boundary is important, but it's also important to remember that like relationships are how we all get business. And so access to the information in between your ears is not what makes people successful. Not at all. Like, hiring you, the people hire you because they need you to help them short circuit problems before they happen and increase their probability of success. Access to the information is basically free. There's zero barrier.
Yeah. I mean,
and if it's not from you, they'll just get it from somebody else. The internet exists.
Advice is not going to get someone to do something. Action is the only thing. I don't think
the boundary is there. I think the boundary is that, like, can you do this for me? And if you do it for free, and an engagement that is supposed to be paid, like we talk about free work in other contexts and other ways. So I'm not trying to contradict other advice we've given or other things we've talked about, but it's like, to do this in a way that maintains a healthy boundary wherever you need it to be is very possible, and to also maintain an encouraging and being like a very approachable and encouraging person.
Totally. I mean, I go through phases. And when I first started my journey online, I hopped on a lot of calls with people and just chatted. You know, I'll talk about anything. I mean, the idea though for me was that it was going to be mutually beneficial. Like, I don't love the whole pick your brain thing either.
It's very bizarre.
It's very bizarre. Like, let's just meet up and whatever we talk about, we talk about. And, you know, it's nice to get to know people. I've become ruthless with my time though, as I've gotten busier with work and also just the way my kids are right now. Like, I want to spend, if I'm going to be not doing something work related, I want to be spending time with them. So I'm hopping on way fewer calls than I used to, but I still look at all the messages and respond to as many as I can. I mean, I was telling a client the other day, this is the reason I started a newsletter. This is why I love having this podcast, because you can respond to everyone and say, actually, I've talked about this before, or like, hey, I've written about some of this here, read it, and then come back with more questions. I'm happy to answer them. Like, this is also another great reason for AI. Just like upload all the transcripts you've ever said about anything and then be like, hey, AI, someone asked me this question. Can you like write me a response? Edit it, shoot it off, saves you tons of time. Or have a VA do, help you with that. But like there are tons of ways to be human and keep the relationship vibe of this work there without hopping on a call with people. I mean, our client was like, these people asked to quote unquote pick my brain. I think she met up with them in person, and then they like put a recorder in the middle of the table, and they were like, right, question 1, and there were like a bunch of them.
Yeah, like,
and she was like, it was such a weird situation. We were like, why did
she was like, I talked, and then I just was like, goodbye. I was like, I would have just been like, the second the recorder shut up, I'm like, this is not a deposition. What the hell is happening here? Like, I didn't like.
That's a crazy experience. I don't know.
That's an extremely fringe example, but I mean, hey, I'm sure it happens to more people than everything. I think the point here among all of these examples is that you get to decide where the boundary is. So like, here's another easy one. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were sold this idea that the most valuable thing you can be or do as a consultant is strategy. And it's not that I disagree with this, but I do think that there's more to life and there's more to this work than just doing strategy.
Yep.
Right? You can charge a ton for strategy. And I'm not saying it's not valuable work. I'm not saying it's not important work. My good friend Max Trailer always talks about how strategy is the most important thing you could sell. And he says you charge a lot for it. We have a slightly different opinion here, which is like the strategy is only useful in the context that they have the means to execute on it.
Yes.
And I think a boundary that people have artificially set, which is probably an incorrect boundary, is like, they're like, I only do the strategy. Like, I don't write your emails. I don't write your webpage copy. I don't do this. Like, I'm not saying you should do things that you're not good at, to do things you don't like. I'm saying we need to find ways to help enable the success of our clients, right? To put a boundary there between the plan to do work and the actual work, I don't think it serves anyone.
Yeah.
Right. What the most fun we have with people is after they launch their offer, because that's when the real work starts.
Yeah.
Oh, let's review sales calls. Let's talk about existing client engagements. Let's talk about like, where are the bottlenecks? What are we doing? Like, now we can start thinking about like, okay, there's issues in standardization here. What are things that we need to get off of your plate? Where should we start to automate like more of? That's where the real fun is, because one, it allows us to make an exponential difference for our clients, but also when you remove that artificial barrier for yourself, it's like the clients that we work with that would traditionally stop at the end of strategy, like, here you go, and then move on to another project or another engagement or another client or whatever the thing is. And you're like, hey, if you see it through, one, you could charge even more.
Yep.
Right? LTV of a client goes up, your client rotation slows way down.
Yep.
So we increase stability in our client portfolio. And then like the outcomes that clients are able to see are like 100 times.
So much stronger.
Right? They're 100 times better or higher than just here's the plan. And it's so much more fulfilling for the consultants that we work with that add that part in to help them work it out. And I'm not saying you have to be everything. Like, you can bring it. Like, the point is that you're not good at everything. You don't have to be good at everything. You have to be good at the play, And if you're like, hey, I'm not the strongest copywriter in the world, go get a copywriter, right? Go find a copywriter. Oh, I'm not a web developer. Like, we're not web designers and developers. And guess what? We send all of our clients to Emily Court. We send every single client that we have that does not feel confident in their ability to update their websites. They all go to Emily Court. All of the clients that we work with that need operations support, they all go to Maggie McClure and Fractional Magic. Like, it's the same thing. Free plugs. It's not free plugs. They said they do a ton of great work for us and all of our clients, so they deserve it, absolutely. But like, this is the whole thing. It's like, we don't need to be amazing in every single nook and cranny. We just need to know how the play is run and help them become successful.
Yeah. I was going to say my favorite part about working with them after the launch of their new offer is that we then get to stress test it and learn all the things and possible scenarios that can happen for this type of offer in this type of environment with this type of client. And it's just all data that we can then use to better serve everyone else that we work with, and as well as grow our own business. The more that you get into these nuances of, okay, this didn't work this way. Well, why? Oh, okay, because of this reason. Now you've got that data. Okay, so then you're approaching that with a new client in a similar thing. And now you know to look for, okay, this might not work in this way because of that. So if you run into that, then we can go down path A or path B. And you just know how the strategy is going to get implemented and shape up and fare in the world, instead of just being like, here's a strategy, like it definitely works all the time for everyone and everyone's the same. Like,
yes, this is the great aha when we go through engagement modeling with people. It's like the whole optimization part. Yeah. It's like no one deploys a perfect program the very first time. And it's not like, oh, it's the first time we've done it. It's like, there's no such thing as perfect. Like the optimization and iteration of your programming must take place.
Yeah.
And so to set the expectation that here it is, the perfect plan, deploy it and never change a thing.
That's crazy.
It's just unrealistic. And it's unrealistic for us. It's unrealistic for all of our clients, for the work that they do with their clients. And so again, you get to set the boundary and set the expectation that, hey, we know that we're going to need to fix this. We know that we're going to launch and we're going to learn stuff. And so that's part of the process versus never launching or launching months later because you're trying to chase a perfect process or a perfect deliverable or a perfect fucking whatever website, webpage copy, whatever the thing is. It's like, we know that the only way to figure this stuff out is to go and like just pressure test it in the world. And that is like, it saves you so much agony.
So much agony. I wanted to talk about the one other example about how, like, what do you do when clients are saying, hey, if this happens and I'm going to miss a call, or if you don't work a certain amount of hours, for example, then how am I...
We saw a post today.
Yeah, like how am I supposed to then value this relationship? What really they're asking, I think I just said the thing I was going to ask, is like they want to know how to read the value of the quote that you're giving them. And the easiest way to read value is by hour, but that's the worst way to sell anything. But it seems like it's this language that clients are looking for. If you're doing something, they want to know how many hours you're going to work on it. And so how do you then set the boundary there with, look, you're going to get the outcome regardless of hours, regardless of, how long the deliverable is or any of that. This is something I think people come across a lot. So I just wanted to get your take on it before we wrap.
A lot of this is because people run into these issues because they anchor the value of the engagement to the call versus the output, right? The deliverable, the thing they're going to get, or the outcome, the bigger picture thing, or the hour. So they're like, we saw a post that was like, yeah, I pitched the idea of a retainer and they want to know how many hours we get. They would get like, how many hours are we talking here? And one, I think this is like a structural issue, which is like, without the context of like what you do and how you do it, saying the words I offer retainers now, if you don't tell people how to perceive things, they're just going to make it up. This has been something that I've been talking about for years now. This is why even just understanding a category design and category thinking is so powerful, because without the category, you're not telling people how to perceive you. And if you don't tell them that, and you don't tell them like what problem you're trying to solve here, they just fill in the blanks themselves. So to say I offer a retainer now without the context of what you're going to do, how they're going to do it, or the problem that you're going to solve, they're just going to go, cool, like how many hours do you get? Are you giving to people? And it's like, well, it's hard to backtrack from that. It's like, well, it's not really about hours. I mean, we all know that like it's weird because it's like so easily quantifiable for everybody, and that's why everybody does it. But clients hate it because all it does is create a perverse incentive, right? It's like, oh, well, we value a thing more because it took longer. And you hate it because you're like, why am I charging less because I'm good? Isn't it like the 10 years I spent learning this thing and trying to figure it out and be good at it? Isn't that supposed to make me worth more?
Yeah.
And they go, well, I'll charge more per hour so that I can make it up for working less hours. It's like,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So set the boundary, right? Like set the boundary up front. A lot of this has to do with structuring the way you communicate in a way that you're communicating in an order that makes the most sense, right?
Yes.
You can't just jump straight to I offer a retainer without understanding all of the other things that go into it. That's a prime example. There's another example you gave, I think, the calls thing. It's like, oh, well, like, what are we going to do if we need the calls? I mean, look, if you're a coach and the calls are where people get the bulk of the value, or that's like where you make the difference, then I think that's just like, that's the nature of your business.
Yeah.
And I think we dance that line like a lot of the times. Like our business is rooted in a lot of like the coaching calls that we do in a lot of ways, but it also, like, missing a call isn't going to change anything because we're still tracking. If we're still tracking to the output, right, the offer and the outcome, like grow the revenue, then missing a call here or there doesn't change. I don't think it changed anything. I don't think anyone genuinely cares.
I would say, to wrap this up, the most important thing you can do is to pay attention to the moments where you feel like you don't have a good answer. Note that down, and then figure out, how do I say this in a way that's going to help everyone understand what's going on? How do you say it in a way that's going to put you back in the driver's seat, because it's your business that you're running? And if you don't know, then go seek help, right? Like, no one's going to get this right at first. It's a skill building thing to communicate effectively and hold your boundaries. But the chaos does not need to get to a place where you're like, I hate everything about this and I don't know what to do. Like, from the jump, pay attention to what's not feeling right and aligned, and then do something about it. Like, learn the skill. I think the most important skill I've learned in the past few years is communication, and communicating in a way that is just clear and puts me in the driver's seat. I sucked at that when I first started. I mean, I was in Campfire, WhatsApp, like whatever, like Basecamp, email. I was joining people's emails too. I was doing whatever was easiest for them because I just wanted to like fit in to their business, and I wanted everyone to be happy. We definitely had like the people pleasing thing because I was so nervous and didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I'm so glad that I was able to shift that. A lot of that is due to what I've learned with and from you. And watching you, like, you're so confident with all of your answers too. Like, I don't think you can predict all the questions people are going to ask you, but it's good. It's a good exercise as well to sit down and be like, okay, what could people ask me about this that I could have prepared beforehand? So I don't come across like I never thought about that. Like, just today, someone said, what happens if our calls run into Christmas holidays? You have to have answers for this, because or else you're going to accidentally be like, it's all good, we'll just talk over on Christmas, and then
yeah, that's just like, hey, well, just call me on Christmas.
Whatever.
Like, it's cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I don't
cool. Like, I just want this conversation to end because I didn't, it's like, what? No, like, you gotta.
A lot of it comes with reps too, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think that don't expect to have answers. Everything. It's okay to, like, I can't tell you how many times I said, I don't know, I'll get back to you.
100%. That's a much better answer than saying something stupid.
Yes, I will. We'll see. We'll just talk on Christmas.
I'll just talk to you on Christmas. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll see you on Christmas. Like, it's so much better than that. But like, part of it is intuition and like the wisdom. I'm not wise, but it's like you just have done it enough times. Like,
Yep.
all of those reps are just in there, and I think that's also part of why people get to charge a premium, right? It's like why people are good at a thing. It's like you've seen enough stuff that there's like very few situations people can throw at us where we're like, that's a first.
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing. It's like, I don't think it's like, we're not special, but it's like, cool. We've seen the majority of fringe situations that we can, and we have learned how to navigate them. And I think it's a really valuable thing to bring to the table. And some people like don't feel like we're really confident in that. I think some people are not that they're afraid to be confident in it, but they feel bad about it. For some reason, they feel bad about some of those things. And it's like, no, like own your expertise, like own the experience and be proud of that. And it's okay to just put the boundary up and call the shot and say, this is exactly how we do a thing. I think a lot of it is that people are afraid that if they say this is how we do it, and they're like, well, we don't want to do it that way, and then you lose a deal that you might have been able to win or something. Right. But oftentimes people aren't asking these types of questions because they have an expectation. They're asking a question because they don't know.
They don't know.
And they just want you to help them.
And the more that you have an answer that seems like you've thought about this before or done it before, the more confident they're going to be to give you their money. Because a lot of the times this is happening in the sales process, you know?
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times people ask us stuff too, and I still have to go, I got to throw some brain cycles at that one. Like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure what.
But that rarely happens during the sales process. That happens. Of course,
so
that happens in client engagements.
No, in the sales process, I think you should be fairly buttoned up. Like, if you're selling yourself and your process and your programming and all that stuff.
My favorite way to think about it too is I think just hearing the words you get to decide sets people free. I can't tell you how many clients are working with at least one out of their, 5 to 10 clients. They're just like, I can't with this client anymore. And when you go, so why are you working with them still? It's like, wait, I have a choice to not be anymore. It's like this crazy light bulb moment goes off in their head.
This comes back to a scarcity mindset that like there might not be another client, or like we need the money or whatever. And like I respect everyone's situations, but the freedom that comes with like, yeah, you don't have to work with people who don't serve you.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you release that client, not only do you make room for better fit clients to show up, but most people, like the things that prevent us from doing that, the limiting beliefs that we have,
yep,
that prevent us from releasing a client that no longer serves us, is like they're going to be so upset. And it's a story we tell ourselves. And the reality is that when you say, hey, this is our last month, they're relieved. And it's not because they're just like, I didn't know, like I felt like we were kind of coming to the end here. And you're like, yeah, we've done all we can do now.
Yep.
And people are like, great, that sounds like cool. This was a ton of fun. I learned a lot, whatever. I got what I like. People are generally not fazed by some of these things. And I think part of it is just knowing like, it's okay. There's an unlimited number of ways to do this stuff, but you get to decide how it's done. It's the whole point of running your business, running it like a business and not running it like you have multiple part-time jobs and multiple different bosses.
Yep.
Right. And part of that is understanding like, okay, there's this thing called a boundary and I get to decide where it is. And I get to decide like what things are important to me. There are a general handful of things that I think should matter to most people in terms of like how you engage in a way that like doesn't set you up to be buried, to be crushed by your work. But some people care more about something else. Like we have a client, like he's like, hey, we live in a really expensive city and we don't have any kids and I love working. So I'm going to work a lot and I'm going to just like, I'm going to keep selling because I love working. It's like, cool. That's a boundary that like, I'm not willing to break that. You put a boundary in one place, in a place that another client or another person might not. And that's fine. But like just once you realize these things and you start to see, to look for these moments,
yeah,
and like bottlenecks or these like variables in your business, it changes your life.
It really does. And it's never,
put this here.
The outcome is never, ever as negative as you think it's going to be. Or
it's almost 100% of the time positive. I could say with extreme confidence that 99% of the outcomes are a positive one. I don't think, I'm leaving the 1% open because it's possible, but I don't really think I've seen one. If you approach the situations and create boundaries and maintain them with integrity and honesty,
yep,
I don't see this going any other way. I've never seen it go any other way.
Same, when it's gone negative, when I've had a feeling I didn't act on, and then a client had to like a boundary for me. And I'm like, I was just embarrassed and like, I should have taken the lead here and been like, this isn't working. It's so embarrassing to hear that from the other end. I've made all the mistakes. So
yeah, same.
Like,
Yeah, overstaying your welcome is probably the worst boundary to break.
Yeah.
Or with a client. And it's like
you're both just like kind of here.
Everyone's
like,
waiting for someone else to do the hard thing. And it's like, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. All right, well, let's end it here. That's enough rambling and ranting for one day. So until next time, keep setting boundaries.
Keep setting those boundaries.
We need a tagline. We need like a sign off.
We do.
Keep on put a boundary up.
Boundary on. Boundary on.
Keep calm and boundary on. All right. We're just going to keep on. We're going to end this episode now.